Hello everyone, Sylvan Bell coming to you live from Maui. I had to think about where I was for a minute. I'm in Kaanapali, figure, hey, perfect day to talk about what it takes to be an exceptional salesperson. Now, this trait of an exceptional salesperson, for some people takes a long time to develop. For some people, it's just okay from the very beginning. But I want you to understand that being okay with failure, it's not a bad thing. So, sometimes, I'm gonna give you a story. I was talking to my mom this weekend, and she's an artist, and my mom is a really good artist. She's not like okay. She draws and paints these pictures that are flat out amazing. And she called me and she's like, Scott, I'm doing this picture of a sunset, and it's not the greatest thing that I've ever done. I said, okay, how many sunsets have you done? And she's like, 2 or 3. And we're not talking like a painting like this big. We're talking like a painting that big, a huge painting. And I said, hey, Mom, one of the things you got to understand is you got to have a reference point. And, people like to see you develop over time. And, this is the same thing true with businesses. People like to see you develop over time because nobody just starts out amazing at what they do. There's a small percentage of people who are like naturally talented, but nobody really just starts out amazing. So be okay with failure because it builds that muscle and it builds that capability. Now, I'm going to share something with you about my personal life. My first YouTube videos were horrible, right? And taking a look back over time, I'm at 500 now on this channel, roughly 500 videos on this channel, or somewhere close by the time that I'm done shooting out here, out in Hawaii on this trip. It'll be 500 videos. And, when I take a look back, by the time that I'm done with 1,000 videos, I'm gonna look at my first 500 and go, wow, I have so much more to improve. The same thing happens in the sales process. The same thing happens in business. You develop skills, talents, and abilities over time. And usually it takes like a failure on something to figure out and go, that wasn't good. So in March 2015, I spoke in this event in Vegas, and I watched the videos, and there was a lot of good things that I did. There were a lot of amazing things that I did over 5 hours. And then there was a couple of things that I went, ugh. But you know what? Had I not done those things, I went, ugh, I wouldn't know the difference. I wouldn't know, hey, that's not something that I want to do in the future, and I'm not going to do that in the future because it wasn't a good thing. But the performance was still amazing. I still deliver tons of content, information from things that I've learned over the past 15 years of selling that I think is unique that nobody else has. And there was people who came up and said, hey, you did a great job. But if I looked at the video and go, ooh, I failed at just like this one little tiny point right here, and then it said, you know what, I'm not going to speak in front of a group again because I failed. Out of the 5 hours that I spoke, I screwed up for 20 minutes, right? It wouldn't make sense. So the same thing happens is, every opportunity that you have or somewhere that you fail is an opportunity to gain knowledge. And like a lot of people give up because it's uncomfortable. And anywhere that's uncomfortable, just know that most people give up because it is uncomfortable and they don't want to do it. So that could be with coaching, that could be with sports, right? That could be with a diet. It's uncomfortable for me to eat right because I really love food and I love sugar. And last night they had creme brulee that tasted like coconut, right? And so like they kept bringing it out, and it was so tough for me to tell you no. But when I fail at a diet, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. So failure happens in a lot of places. You just got to really understand that it's constant. But be okay with it. Be okay with failure as long as you learn something from it and make the necessary changes and implement something different to do. Failure is okay. It's going to help you be a successful salesperson, an exceptional salesperson. Now, if you could do a small favor for me in the box down below, leave a comment, question, or story. That'd be fantastic. To the right or to the left, there is a subscribe button. Subscribe and then send it out to all your friends via StumbleUpon, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Sylvan Bell. Coming to you live from Kaanapali, Maui. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Aloha.